So, for a while now, I've been pointing to the fact that there seems to be an effort to just simply invert what racial activists believe to be the hierarchy. They want separate sets of rules for themselves and to essentially establish black privilege. I've also commented on the fact that science shows that the act of doing this actually causes more bigotry and racism. I've discussed this kind of rise of rhetoric along the lines of white people are collectively this or collectively that white people are responsible for this or responsible for that. I went over that quite a bit in my series about everything's going to be all white. And I'm still going to do more of that. I actually have plenty to do with it. I just hadn't finished it. I can only take so much of watching that kind of content. But I stumbled on this on Twitter, and I decided I wanted to address it because it's somebody saying the quiet part out loud. I wanted to address that. This college professor was caught on video saying exactly what it is that this particular video is what I am attempting to address. And that is this need to suggest that white people are a collective monolith and therefore equally, collectively guilty for any and everything that they have deemed that white people are guilty of. Let's take a look.
Do serious justice works, and it's a strategy. It's a strategy to pretend that like all white people are individuals.
It's a strategy to pretend that all white people are individuals. So white people are not actually individuals, but it's a strategy to pretend that all white people are individuals. That's really what has been something they've just been slowly trying to socially engineer into society for quite some time, which is why you see all this anti-white rhetoric. The purpose of it is in the same way that the Nazis, picked the Jews out and demonized them and made them collectively on the hook for everything bad about Germany. People of color have been manipulated into doing the same thing, only to white people. If we want to say maybe perhaps that this was taken out of context, unfortunately this video does not have very good quality because it was caught on a phone in a situation where I don't even know if this guy necessarily knew he was being recorded. But I did get more of his tweets that confirmed that yes, this is exactly what he means. White people are not individuals. Let's take a look. The whites. Don't group us. We are individuals. Irami, that's the name of this guy. Well, but you individually make yourselves into the same variety of whites, and that's not great for black communities. These are individuals, too, but that's irrelevant if your goal is to avoid getting stung. So, in other words, no. White people are not individuals. That's a strategy to suggest that we should be judged individually. And I replied, the KKK groups black people as criminals due to FBI crime statistics showing a clear pattern. Is that wrong? I would say it's wrong, because grouping all people of a race and suggesting that race is a determinant of human traits is, well, racism. Definition of racism, meaning the actual one, not the one that they're attempting to lie into being by repeating the lie over and over again, but different video, I've already covered that topic. A belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. The idea that you can just put together, a suggestion that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits. In other words, white people do this, white people do that, is racism. In the same way that black people do this and black people do that, is racism. Further along into the same argument, each has individually made themselves into a recognizable group. This is still talking about white people. I'm from California, and it's kind of like the way a good number of people, through their individual efforts, have the same nose as Nicole Kidman. And I said, when people individually make themselves into a recognizable group. So racists would say that's a thing. Like when the KKK says that you are not human because statistics show a recognizable group. This is wrong because it's racist to draw such parallels. And I quote the crime statistics that show an overwhelming propensity for violent crime from one specific racial demographic. It would be racist to suggest that this is inherent behavior or something that all black people are collectively, responsible for, because they're not. That would be racist. So why is it acceptable to suggest that all white people collectively are responsible for something? It's not. it's still racism. Here's some more lovely quotes from this professor. I've been telling you for a while that unless you deal with the white family and the white church, your politics is going to get run over. Again, the suggestion that race is the fundamental determinant of human traits is racism. Folks underestimate the tax that comes with dealing with a room full of white women about schools. And make no mistake, they are like mosquitoes. 3 or 4 in a room of 20 is already a room full of them. Or maybe it's more like a skunk, where all you need is one in order to conform the whole room into being terrified it's going to spray. So again, just openly talk with hate about white people. Because this man believes that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits. He's a racist. The funny thing is, this man is paid to be a professor to teach people this nonsense. And he is now teaching students that white people are not individuals, that they are a collective monolith responsible for anything and everything done by anybody else with a similar color of skin. And at the same time, he's telling his students that black people are not subject to the same scrutiny. Black people can commit any number of things, and they are not collectively black people. I agree with the second part. I don't agree with the first part. The rules that govern what is and is not racism and bigotry do not just magically change. Despite any attempts at them trying to claim that the definition requires power on the part of the person who holds the belief, it's still just a belief. Period. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I did get a good piece of news. YouTube has decided to enable super chats on my videos. So if you'd like to donate that way, that would be great. I do plan on doing some streaming, probably to celebrate that. I'll have a celebratory stream where you guys can engage in all the super chatting you've been asking for all this time. I'm going to recommend some videos that should be visible here in the cards if you're on YouTube. If not, I'll throw them in the descriptions and the other places where you can find me. Speaking of which, where can you find me? Go to v-radio.us. There you will find links to my other mediums, including Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, etc. And you can join me on social media to always be sure that you're actually aware of when I'm going live or when I'm putting out new content. Thanks again for tuning in.